Hey guys, welcome back. Our first video for 2024, and Happy New Year to you guys as well. So this here is an update quickly on the Calypso car, and we've got quite a few updates for you guys. So we've got updates basically on the Calypso car. We've got on the one IS, there's the white IS there, we've got another IS coming in, or that's there already. And there's a couple of triple threes that we're busy with, and another EVO 2 that we're busy with. So I'm going to do them in stages as I usually do, and we're just going to go through it, right? So when the car came in, I done a video of us doing a color change on the car, and then we found further issues once we started doing a strip up, right? So obviously we knew that the color was wrong first on the car, and we had to do a color change on it. Once we found the rust, we knew that we had to strip out. Basically, in order for us to get to the areas properly, we had to strip out the engine bay, we had to strip out the interior, the dashboard and stuff like that. And we're going to go through this whole process, but this is the process that we're going to follow through to do a color change. It is a bit longer, it is more tedious, but I think it should be better because we're not going to be masking a lot of the places. We're actually getting into a lot of the grooves that we can get into and get the color done as far as possible, or get the color change done as far as possible. We're also going to be masking the area out, obviously, before we do the color change. I'm just going to grab the camera now quickly, and we're going to go through the car, and I'm going to show you the processes that we're going to follow, right? And what we've done differently this time here as to your normal blowovers and so on like that. You'll find there's a lot of sand on the car, and that's because we have decided to blast certain areas just to get into crevices into the grooves, which I do believe will be better off later. The key will be obviously now to clean it up properly and obviously not take over the sand. So your sand won't be in your low-lying areas, but it will be in the crevices, and we need to try and get that out. That's one of the downfalls to sandblasting. But nonetheless, we're gonna go on with that, and let me take you through the car quickly. Okay, so currently you can see we've stripped out, right? So we've gone and we've stripped out your taillights, your bumpers, your bumper, your slides on your bumper, on the body, because we would like to get around that. We'd like to get color under that. Your door locks are off, your mechanisms are off, obviously your boot lid is out. Then we've gone into the booth and we went stripping as far as we can, right, to get that out. So your reserve tank is out as well. Everything will get masked up. But before we mask and do anything of the sort, we want to try and get as much of the issues sorted out. So here we've got, you can see this was filled before, right? And this is welded like crap. So we've got to tackle this issue here. But what we'll do is we'll give it a light sandblast quickly. So we're using a very mild gun to sandblast. But the gun, we're trying to use that because we're trying to get into the corners, right? And if you look at the current paint job on the car, on camera it might be hard, but you might be able to see how thick the layer of paint is. And firstly it's hard to sand down in here, right? So we're trying the blasting method out and we see that it works. It does take a bit longer, but we're actually able to get a lot of the paint work out of there. So we'd like to blast around basically all the corners, and these are the areas that we're going to tackle. Hence you can see us masking the car off in certain ways. So we'll do the same thing around the taillights, around the mountings of that, and we'll move over, we'll do in here as well, do the window frames a lot, because you can see the paint is actually very thick on here, right? You can see the old layer of paint here, and this here was the original color of the car as to this here. So same thing gonna be done here. We'll have this here masked off nicely, we'll have it cleaned off, not cleaned off, closed off, and then we'll come and we'll blast in the corners here. So we've done a test on the blasting on here, and this here was a couple of seconds of blasting, and this here actually worked out very well. So again, we're not going to blast the whole car through, but we're going to blast the corners, and we'll try and get into the rain gutter beading corners nicely. And you can see here, this is not, it's too thick. You'll see the sand here, we have been blasting here already, and we've been playing around with it. So have a look at the sealer here, right? You can see how thick the sealer is over here. We're gonna have this here cleaned up here, have this here blasted out, and hopefully we're starting basically from not scratch but from a decent point. So remember guys, this is not a restoration car, right? And this here is a color change, not a blowover car, it's a full repaint. But we need to get into certain things, into certain areas properly. So we've started blasting along the engine bay and just masking out where we can, just to keep sand out of there. And it looks like it's working out. So the rust on the engine bay side is not too bad, but you've got like corners here, and this is going to be very hard to get into. And you'll find that you've got 2 plates in there. I'm actually going to get in here, but before I do, these brackets here, so all your small brackets, there was thick layers of paint over them. We've actually came out and we've blasted along that line there quickly, just to get basically back to metal. So when we do run a coat of paint on it, it's not a thick layer of paint where you can see the car has been painted and painted upon. And the whole aim of this is trying to do it properly. We should have masked the heater box area properly. So what's going to happen now is that we're going to have to take the heater box out, get all the sand out, just clean everything up, and then get it back in. So if I get in here quickly, sorry. Okay, so now we're going to do, let me just move this cable out of the way. So now we're going to do some metal repairs here, right? So the cross member, this is our custom cross members here that we just have running on wheels. You'll find here, and it looks like it's been repaired before. It looks like it's been repaired before. So the sandblast is not as abrasive and as aggressive as done on the body, so it won't pull off a lot of the sealers and silicones. This here will come through with a wire brush, pull this guy off decently. And you can see that they have repaired, because this here is another panel on top. If you look at this side here, this side is actually nice and smooth, but you can see that there is another plate on top of here. So what we're going to do is now we're going to come in, remove all of this here, take this plate off, and first inspect what is going on. So we're going to change our approach of how we do things. Not our approach, we're going to change the way we're doing things because of a couple of reasons, right? One is, what we would first do is maybe take the leg off by the spot welds, take this panel off, and then remove here and weld on again. But firstly, the process is very long. Secondly, when you're taking off a leg on another vehicle, you tend to damage and you tend to dent off wherever you can, and getting that back on takes firstly very long. Secondly, you might not get it back on the way it should go on. So we're going to leave the floating chassis in place, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to start replating through. So we're going through a different process of how we used to do body work on the cars. Before, we would concentrate a lot on the welding. Sorry, I've got to get back out of the engine bay. So before, we'd concentrate a lot on the welding, right? And just say, for example, if it was this panel here, then we would take it off by the spot welds. Let me just walk to this guy here quickly and explain to you more. This is another feature that I'm going to do, and I'll show you which car this is on. So normally we would take it out by the spot welds and get another replacement floor, a second-hand floor. Firstly, hunt it down, look for it, get a replacement floor, and then you'll still find defects on the floor like this, and we've still got to tackle that. Here, we're doing a totally different change to how we done metal work. We've actually invested into some tools, and we will be making up our plates ourselves. So if you look at a battery tray, for example, we're not going to be able to, we won't just cut out the tray and put another plate on top where you've got a flat plate on there. We've actually got tools coming in where we will have these original beads in place. We're going to be playing with it. I will be doing a lot of, not tutorials, but a lot of videos to show you our trials and errors. Our trials and errors on that. But I think, firstly, it's going to be fun. Secondly, the cars will look good. It will look like it will look the part, number one, and it's done properly. So we will be able to cut the cancer off at the source and then replate it. So having said that, what we're going to do is we're going to take off the plate that was welded on, or the previous repair. Once the plate is off, we will then cut out the cancer, that's the rust, cut it out as far as possible, but make sure that, and we'll have to count how many plates it's on, because if you look at your metal, let me give you an example. Yeah, here's an example. this is one plate here, this is one piece here, this is another piece here. So if we're cutting off here and here, we'll have to make up a plate here first, a piece for this guy, and then make up another shape for this guy here. So there's two shapes that's got to be made on there. So the same thing there, we'll have to determine how many pieces are on that specific spot. If there's 2 or 3 pieces, we'll have to make out a piece per panel to make up that one hole. So we're going to go through that process, right? And we're going to do that there. I'm going to introduce you guys to Jason, and he will also do a lot of the videos with you guys when it comes to the cutting and welding. And we're going to do the same thing along here. So what we are going to do here is, should have just taken this off, but we are going to take the spot welds off. So you've got a whole lot of spots running throughout here. We're going to drill the spot welds out, and then we're going to cut out a panel through, but I'll do it with you guys on video. Cut out the panel through, we'll re-bend the panel, we'll re-bead the panel, get the studs and holes and mounting points that we need on it, and then replate the floor through instead of cutting out the whole floor. Because firstly, the car is a good car, it's just got rust spots here and there. If you look at the rest of the car is actually in good nick, right? And I'm going to move back over to the back section here, to the battery tray area. It's the same thing here. We don't have to take the whole battery tray off. So what we're going to do is we'll cut further on into here, get the bends in place, get the spot weld plates in place, and then get your beads in place as well. If I got my terminology wrong, just bear with me, guys. This is a process that we're going to try out, but I do believe that it is a better process than how we currently worked on the car. Again, Sikaflex, look at the size of the Sikaflex on this car. Sikaflex, that will all come out. The holes are bigger, so we'll have to close those holes up and re-drill them into place. We'll get the correct clips for the car, and I see that there was a couple of mounting points on the MTech kit broken off, so we'll get that plastic repaired properly. I'm not going to do a full video on that, but I will show you guys how we get it repaired and get the car lined up and sorted. So for now, our progress here is basically we got the car sanded down. We're going to go further down into sanding, get the kit area sanded down, the bumper area sanded down. We're going to get this area here blasted off, then move over to the interior, and then start moving over to the metal work on the car. So I hope this here helps you guys. I know I haven't done a lot of videoing. There's not much content that I've done. We've just been busy with a lot of other stuff, but you guys can see there's quite a bit of work that I'm gonna be showing you. Guys, the link is in my description. Please like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the progress, what you think of our ideas regarding the metal work. And yeah, let's get this car. Oh yeah, by the way, before I end the note, this car is an EVO 2, of which I mentioned before, but it's an HP2 car. So upside down tag. A lot of guys were arguing with me with my how to identify an IS. OEJ1, upside down tag, and HP2. So we've got another HP2 car there, same story. Upside down tag, HP2 car. A lot of people were arguing with me of which cars came with an upside down tag, and there was a little bit of an argument of the HP2 version of it, which is the 155 kilowatt version. Another thing is we're going to be removing all these clips here as well, all your latches. So even on the door as well, the handles and the latches will come off. These here don't come off, but we need to clean them up properly and get them painted up properly. So guys, expect another video very soon of the metalwork process, and then we will move on to the spraying of the car, and let's hope we get this car nice, clean, good, and looking the way it should. Anyway guys, enjoy, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Cheers.